Welcome everyone. Today we're going to teach you how to do this. Before we get started, I just wanted to briefly discuss the purpose of this video. Yes, cross-section missiles in the current version of the game are frustrating. In my opinion, this is mostly as a result of the mechanics of the match types available to us, which allow us to use missiles with more frequency than I think we will be able to in the persistent universe. I believe that having a game type that did not allow an easy restock of missiles for every respawn would do quite a bit to change the current meta, and that either this mode should be implemented or some other limiter on the number of missiles available during matches should be explored before resorting to reducing the effectiveness of missiles anymore. In fact, it's likely that every missile other than the cross-section missiles need to be more useful during combat, or people will simply choose not to equip them. The point of this video isn't to criticize the weapon balance in Alpha. It's to show people how to survive the cross-section missile spam that has become so well known recently. If you watch carefully and practice the techniques we're about to discuss, it should give you a leg up during arena matches. Obviously, missiles shot at extremely close range or from multiple assailants will be increasingly difficult to evade. It's in these situations that it's useful to remember that it's unwise to engage in close if the odds are not in your favor, and that the game is currently in alpha. Alright, so how are we going to do this? Well, first we're going to teach you how to beam, and we're going to teach you how to practice it on your own. It's a maneuver, and it's something that you just need to learn how to do, and it's better to just sort of isolate that and practice it on its own, and then later try to incorporate the full procedure. That's the second step. We're going to go through the evasion procedure step by step, break it down, make it easy to understand. We're going to give some final tips for just in general evading missiles, and maybe if you aren't able to figure out how to do the missile evasion procedures, there's some other ideas there too. And then we're going to give some example gameplay footage. So what is the beam maneuver? Well, the beam maneuver is just putting the missile on your right or left wing. Pretty simple. Just laterally, left or right, 90 degrees from your nose, and not vertically at all, though you can do that if you'd like to. And if your spacecraft doesn't have wings, it's where your wings would be if you were in an airplane. So it's a term from real aviation. There are other words for it. Beam maneuver, biggest things. Radar is your primary reference, since most people aren't using track IR or some kind of head tracking. That's the easiest way for you to be able to keep track of something that isn't in your field of view, because your field of view doesn't usually extend that far. This will minimize your cross section as much as possible. The only way to keep it even more minimal would be to point straight at the missile, but that doesn't always work for some reasons that we'll get into. It introduces a BFM problem for the missile, so you're going in a direction where it can't really pull the kind of pursuit it needs to. It doesn't have the maneuverability to be able to keep up with you, and we'll talk about that too. And then it allows the pilot to pull the most G's possible. So you can see here we have a radar. Pretty simple. Obviously, this training exercise thing that I'm trying to get you all to do, you're going to be using Vandal Swarm to practice this in case you don't have somebody who can fire missiles at you. So that's why it's a scythe instead of a missile icon. That would normally be red. So you find the red thing on the radar globe, you put it to the right or to the left, even, so it's not up like those two intermediary ones, or down like that third one. So you just want it right or left on your radar globe, and you're going to maneuver your spacecraft so that happens. So put the thing on the right side or the left side of your radar, and that's pretty much it. Now, some people might like to decrease the range on the radar to make it a little bit easier to see. That's up to you. The downside I've found with that is that if something's outside of the range, and sometimes the cross-section missiles can be that far away, it'll declutter, which means you won't see it until it gets a lot closer to you. So you start out default every match, you're at the medium range for your for your radar. If you want to decrease the range, so basically zoom in the radar, you can press the comma key once. That's the default binding. And that's up to you if you want to do that. Otherwise, just leave it at the default, which is medium range. All right, going to demonstrate how to practice beaming while you're solo here. Now, obviously, the ideal thing to do to practice this would be for 2 people, if you have a buddy, to go into free flight. Each of you load cross-section missiles and take turns shooting them at each other. But let's say you don't have anyone to practice with right now, so... All right, you get into Vandal Swarm, target one of the Vandal, and just kind of head towards them, and you're going to pretend that they're the missile. Now, I don't want you to use your targeting arrow because you won't have that for the missiles, so you're going to look at the radar. That's your primary reference. It's like, okay, I'm putting them on the right side. All right, so now I got the Vandal on the radar, and I've got him, I'm beaming. I've got him on my right side, right? So, okay, I'm just going to keep him on the right side. Keep him on the right side. Keep him on the right side. I'm using boost to go forward. Keep him on the right side. Keep him on the right side. So, in case you didn't know, like, how to read the radar, if you go like this, so now he's like down and right, okay? And you see how like the arrow kind of, or the line kind of points down, and now, ooh, oh, okay, all right. So now he's like up and right. So that's like the kind of what the radar means when it's got the line at a 90-degree angle like that. So you want to keep him directly to the right. So there you go. So you're beaming right now. So he's on your beam. He's on your right wing. That's exactly what it is. So being on the wing minimizes the cross section, makes it so that you can use your main engines to accelerate laterally when compared to them. And if it's a missile, it gives the missile a basically a BFM problem. The missile can't pull the right kind of pursuit to, and it's not maneuverable enough to be able to catch up with you. So this is a little bit slower pace than it will be with the missiles. This is great for practicing with the Vandal because they don't really maneuver that much. If they're on you, it might get a little weird because they're trying to get close to you. So yeah, I'm just keeping them on the right side. I'm looking at my radar, just got them on the right side. It's like if I see them like this, it's like, okay, I need to turn left and I need to turn like that. So I just, I use roll to control how far up and down it is, and I want them even, and then I can use pitch and yaw to also control where they are. So I just yawed in, so now it's right in front of me. I don't want that. I want them off to the right. That's pretty much how you practice this if you're on your own. Alright, so now that you all have practiced how to do the beam maneuver, let's go over the mechanics of actually avoiding a missile step by step. So we're going to break this down into 3 phases. The first phase is the detection phase. So you see the missile indicator pop up, you hear the sounds, you get really scared. First you got to determine the location of the missile. Now, there's a lot of factors that can go into this. You could know who's shooting at you, he could be right in front of you, you could see the missile already, you could hear it, but biggest thing is just if you have no idea, just take a guess. And in general, if you don't see it in front of you, then it's probably behind you. So first thing you want to do is boost forward a little bit to give yourself some more room, then either decouple turn to try to find it, or do a comm stab off turn and reverse your strafe, so you're strafing backwards, that kind of thing. Biggest thing is in this phase, you're finding the missile and you're pointing at it, or you're pointing kind of sideward to it. So you're going to use pitch, roll, and yaw to get the missile on the right or left side of the screen. That should be an or there. So, yep, right or left side of the screen at the very edge. I know that's not quite the beam yet, but that's coming soon. So that is the first step. All right, next at the CPA phase. So now the missile's coming at you, and you're going to start as soon as you've got it where you want it on the screen. You're going to strafe away from it. So if you didn't quite get it to the right side, if it's upper and right, you're going to strafe down and left. Otherwise, you should be able to just strafe laterally away from it. So if I see it on my right side, I'm going to strafe left. If I got it on my left side, I'm going to strafe right. And what you're doing is you're creating lateral distance for the approach. If you've seen any of my videos on space combat maneuvering, you know what I'm talking about. I kind of espouse that when you are booming in on someone, you want to create lateral distance at the closest point of approach so you can keep all your options available to you, and this is the same thing. All right, so Once you get to your CPA, you want to boost forward. And this is why we practice the beam maneuver the way we do. It's one of the very few times where it's acceptable to not stay pointed at whatever it is you're fighting. And the reason why is because you want to be able to pull the maximum number of Gs. A lot of ships, bigger engines on the back, so you can propel forward a lot easier than you can propel backwards. Also, you can't get any blackout, red out, goat feint, anything like that for boosting forward. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to see the missiles. You're going to have your primary reference as your radar, and this is a reason why we did this, so that you can see how far away it is, because sometimes it's really, really hard to tell just by looking at them. So you've got your radar, you've got the sounds. If you've got surround sound, that'll help you out a lot to determine where the missiles are. It's coming close to you. You are like, okay, that's good enough, and this is going to take practice, and then you just boost forward, let them go right by you. At CPA, boost forward. And so basically the missiles are going to overshoot you, and then you should have them on the beam, and you should be able to yaw or pitch or whatever you need to do to keep them on your beam. So then you're just going to beam them, and you're going to boost forward, because remember how I said you can pull the most G's going forward. So that's exactly what you're going to do there. And that's going to allow you to basically just keep them on your right or left side, and they're not going to be able to pull the kind of lead or pure pursuit or whatever it is they pull to be able to do it. And we're going to show you some example videos here in a second. And as for the boost, it depends on your ship. Hornet, yes, most likely throughout most of the Evasion. For Gladius, and now evading these things in Gladius pretty easy. Anything pretty much lighter like that, 325, obviously an M50, although it's really hard to even target a M50 with a cross-section missile. Obviously the Cutlass, you probably need boost. That thing works a lot better with boost just in general. So just play around with it, and you'll see what works best for you. But all right, so here comes a video of step-by-step going through it. Oh man, this is awesome. All right, so the detection phase. So as you may notice, the missiles don't appear on the radar right away. There's a 1 to 2 to 3 second delay before they show up there. And that's why the detection phase is an actual phase instead of just going straight into the beam. If you can beam it right away, then you can skip straight to the third phase. Just be aware that if you do that at a long distance, the missile will be able to get really close to you because you're basically giving it an arc for it to turn inside of. But if it's close and you know where the missiles are, then yes, you can go ahead and go straight to that. But normally you're going to not know where the missiles are coming from, or you won't know exactly what's going on. So what you're going to do is you're going to use sight, sound, and previously built SA to guess the missile direction. So sight, obviously, if you can see them, or if you see the attacker and they haven't popped up yet, you can use that. Sound, surround sound, actually does a lot of good in this game. So yep, surround sound will help you. You'll be able to hear which side the missiles are on if they're close enough to you. And previously built situational awareness, so hopefully your entire engagement you were building your situational awareness by keeping tabs on what's around you. So if you know that somebody was kind of off behind you and to the right, then there's nobody else that could possibly have shot a missile at you, then it's a good bet that that's where the missiles are coming from. Alright, so here you can see I did okay with getting the missiles on the right side. They're kind of up and to the right. Not perfect. A little bit of roll of left here probably would have been good, but I think this is a good demonstration because it can show you that you don't have to be perfect. You can still evade these things. So I got it up and to the right, and I'm trying to determine the range. Now, they just now popped onto the radar, and I can kind of see that they're pretty close here. So I'm thinking to myself, all right, well, they're up and right, so I want to strafe down and left, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here. And as soon as they get to their CPA, which in this case I'm going to see them fly off the screen up and to the right, that's when I'm going to boost forward and just do my best to evade them. All right, so we saw the missiles go up and right past us, so it makes sense that we'd have to pitch up and yaw right to keep them on our right side there. You're going to see me continue to pretty much do this throughout the rest of the maneuver, and a little bit of left roll probably would have done me good here, but you see I still evaded them, so it's you don't have to do it perfectly. You just got to kind of keep them pretty much 90 degrees offset the direction of your nose, and straightforward boost if you're in a Hornet or something like that.
A notch, N-O-T-C-H.
That's right.
There you go.
Yep. Uh-oh. Alright, so here's another example, this time with more missiles, including some of the Size 5 ones. I hear lots of beeping.
Yeah, you gotta hear lots of beeping. Yeah, you got those outrun easy.
Well done.
Cool. Alright, some clues and tips with this one. Alright, general rules. Fight the missile preemptively. If you know somebody's about to shoot missiles at you, you hear the beeping, or you can feel it coming, it's a gladiator, that's a pretty good indicator. You can drop chaff and it'll break the lock and give you a few seconds to kill him or to get behind some rocks or something like that. Using the environment to your advantage, very big. Especially if you don't feel really confident with this evasive technique yet, it's probably a good idea to fight missiles preemptively like that. So chaff is your friend when it comes to that. In general, though, during the maneuver, I mean, you probably saw me in the examples use chaff. That was because I was just doing it out of habit. You don't have to use chaff. And in a few minutes here, you're going to see a bunch of examples, and a lot of them don't use any chaff. I'm not even really sure if it does anything. So chaff is not required to evade these missiles. So you just got to be able to do the evasive procedure correctly. Anyway, all right, next rule, fight the missile first. Yep, it's unfortunate you can't really do too much damage to somebody else while you're evading one of these. That's one of the biggest ways that it's a killer right now. But, it's a missile. You should be focused on evading it. So, yep, fight the missile first. As soon as that missile is in the air, I don't completely drop your enemy out of the scan, but your missile is your number one threat, it's the thing that you're fighting currently. Fight the missile until it explodes. The missile evaded symbol, I think that not only is it arcadey and gamey and I hate it, but it also it's kind of messes players up because they see that, they're like, oh, okay, I did what I was supposed to do, I'm good now. But it usually isn't right, especially if there are multiple missiles in the air. It can just be wrong in so many ways. So ignore the missile evaded symbol. Ignore it. Your way of determining when the missiles are gone, it can be by hearing. You can hear them explode. You see them explode, something like that. Do not see the missile evaded symbol and stop evading. All right. Additional tips: if you are having trouble evading CS missiles, use a splash shield. Obviously, those will deflect more of the splash damage. You probably noticed by now that most of the time the CS missiles don't actually hit you; they just get close enough to explode. That's kind of how this procedure is built. It's built around keeping a minimum amount of distance. That's why you do the strafing during the CPA, and then keeping it on your beam so that it doesn't get within that proximity area that it can explode and hurt you. Okay, and don't engage with missile spammers. If you don't like going against people with missiles, then use the boom and zoom tactics, the philosophy and all that, which is in the Space Combat Maneuvering course. If the odds aren't in your favor, don't do it. Alright, so I've got this video in here to show you just how crazy persistent these missiles can be and why it's important to never trust the missile evaded symbol, and you'll see why. It's from an earlier build of Arena Commander. It's a couple patches ago, I think, but it's definitely relevant for this discussion. It's worth noting that this was before I came up with the procedures I just told you. So this, you'll see me pointing straight at the missile to minimize my cross section. That actually doesn't work as well as the procedures I just discussed. But this is just to show you how much of a hassle these missiles can be, and how you really gotta just keep on until you see or hear them explode. Alright, just some quick final notes here. I wanted to say thank you, Audaxium, Enchanter Tim 11, Panada, and Radiant Flux, especially Audaxium for pretty much teaching me how to do this. So kudos to him. This is what it is because of him. So thank you. Enchanter Tim 11 and Panada were helping me out with the recording and basically shooting missiles at me and letting me practice firing while shooting missiles at me, that kind of thing. Radiant Flux made a video very similar to this one a few days ago, and that definitely influenced this. I just wanted to kind of give my own take on it. So thank you. All of his videos are awesome. I invite you to check him out. And then one final thing, you may notice that my defensive maneuvering, I always talk about three-dimensional motion and how important it is. So one thing that can happen is while you're evading these missiles, if you really do keep them on the right wing, you do beam them, and then you just sort of circle around them is what you end up doing at these 90-degree angles. Very predictable, very flat. It's a two-dimensional maneuver, so not the best for evasive. So next, we're going to be coming up with a variation on this that incorporates some rolling and strafing, just making kind of like balancing, the odds of being able to successfully evade the missile with the odds of evading fire, so that you're minimizing the threat to yourself at all points. Because while you're doing this awesome missile evasion, people could be using that to take advantage and shoot at you. And if you're outnumbered, especially, you're in a lot of trouble if you get a CS missile shot at you. But hopefully we can come up with some ways to sort of minimize that. So that's coming next. All right, next I'm just kind of put a bunch of clips together of me evading cross-section missiles. Some of them weren't using the exact techniques that I espoused here, so just kind of be aware of that, but most of them are, so enjoy that. And if anyone has any questions, of course, you can contact me on my YouTube, on Reddit, on the forums, wherever you'd like, and have a good day and fly safe.
One more time. Yep, there you go. It'll explode. Boom. Yeah, I never use chaff against them anymore. Alright, here we go. That is it.
Oh man, this is awesome.
A notch, N-O-T-C-H.
That's right.
There you go.
Yep, that was stupid easy. I used a chaff as like by instinct, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think the worst thing. Whoa, did something just hit me? Or did I?
Yeah,
ram into you?
neutrons.
Oh,
He
what
took
the
off
hell?
your tail.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
What was that? Oh, what the hell?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I hear lots of beeping.
Yeah, you gotta hear lots of beeping. Yeah, you got those outrun easy.
Well done.
Cool.
If I can hit you.
Oh, you got more. I didn't even realize. And I'm expending flare
He's
for
got
no
more.
reason. Oh, those were the...
A latched cabinet.
Yeah.
And everything has a lid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone gets sipping
even like
cups
this,
and no one can play.
even like the stoves. There's actually like a if you put like a big pot on a stove on it, like on a
They blow up the other ships.
Like immediately or like serious damage? Because I think I've taken out Vandal once with it.
I
just
we
saw,
started,
like in a training mission, I just saw something. Two ships were like touching, and then it was a glorious explosion.
Okay, good. That'll help.
yeah, I can't hear you.
How about now?
Yeah, that's better.
Ah, sorry. It's away from my face. Hey, how do you get the pink badge on Hyper Vanguard Force?
You have to beat every level at a hyper pink. But you can grow one hell of a mean mustache though.
Or a rape mustache.
That's depending on what genetics.
Yeah.
everybody is going to get all of their ships. So if somebody has 100 ships, they're in theory going to like rent 100 NPCs to fly the ships, and then everybody's going to run and try and take back the system.
User entered your channel.
And it probably won't work.
This actually looks pretty fun. Nope, still alive.
What the hell, man?
I'm good. Bring it on.
I noticed they added a blood splatter into the shots.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's it. Uh-oh. Ah. If I were you, I'd try to get wrecked and run a Gladius and see how that fits.
Yeah, if you're dead set on Virtual Joy, it's like the same shit but all gimbals.